Welcome to Moving Through and Beyond, a podcast dedicated to sharing inspired journeys of redefining life, vision, and purpose after immense hardship and grief. My goal with this podcast is to give you hope and to let my guest journeys inspire you to make the choice to keep looking up. I'm your host, Carey Conley. Hi, everybody. This is Carey Conley, your host of Moving Through and Beyond podcast. I get the great pleasure to bring on some really amazing people in the world that have been a part of my life for a long time and have done some really big things. And I'm honored to introduce you all to my really good friend, Donna Johnson, today. Donna, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Carey, I'm so happy to be here with you, girl.
It's a big day for you. We're going to have you talk all about why this is a big day, but I first of all have to thank you for being such a great friend all these years, right? I think you know that you've been a huge mentor of mine, right?
Well, I think we mentor each other, and that's what life is all about.
Yeah, well, yeah, you are one of the people that I tell people helped raise me through my adulthood in indirect ways, but just your the way you inspire people, encourage people, take people under your wing, even when you don't have to. I'm one of those people.
Aww.
I can go back and tell people things and share encouragement with other people and tell them I learned this from my mentors. And one of those people is you.
Well, that's why we're here, right? Love,
sure.
Learn, serve, grow. I mean, all those things, ups and downs.
Yeah.
We're here together.
Yeah. And the older I get, the more I figure that out.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Why couldn't we be wise at 20? Sorry, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. I mean, you look back and you think
there.
of all those things that you wish you would have done differently. But I think the biggest part of being this age is looking back and thinking, well, I can't change it, so I'm not going to dwell in it. So it
gets better and better. Carey, did you know that our most productive decades are 60s, 70s, and 80s? So we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, I keep telling myself that every day. I just wanted to. I always like to start off by having people talk a little bit about their story, because everybody has one, and I know a little bit about yours and your upbringing. So I want you to humbly share that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so in my new book that launches today, 4/4, My Mentor Walks on Water, I actually share my story in chapter 1. And some people so close to me came up at the book launch Sunday and were crying because they never knew my story. Wow. And I guess it's one of those things you don't go walking around and tell people, yeah, I didn't have a normal daddy. So I grew up in a blue-collar home in Wisconsin, loving parents, 4 brothers, but I had a father that I found out later had a lot of abuses when he was younger, and he ended up hating women, a misogynist. So he loved my brothers, but he was very evil to my mom and I. And when I was a 5-year-old, I remember going to my little friend's house, and her mom painted our fingernails pink. And I was so excited when I got home, but my dad called me a whore. And I had to ask my mom what that was. And so I did not have a normal daddy, but just like any adversity, our dear friend Rita Davenport always says, write your problem down, put it in a box, but then go pick somebody else's problem. I just feel like anything we go through is the wilderness are for learnings and teachings, and not to be a victim, but to be a victor.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot of books about that lately, about how we have to change our entire perspective around the adversities we've been through, the people that have hurt us, all the mistakes we think we've made, and just look at it from a divine lens. Because in the perspective, this is all just a blip.
Yeah.
Right? This is just like vapor. And obviously because of what I've been through, it really shifted my perspective after losing my husband and my son. Like nothing is that big of a deal. So
I just remember I was with Rita when your son died, and we sobbed. I don't think I ever remember sobbing so hard. Yeah, sorry.
Well, you promised me we're not going to do this. It just really changes everything.
Yeah.
And it is a blessing when you start seeing, okay, what's the lesson in this that I'm to take from this? And how can I use this for good for other people?
Amen.
One of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is for that very reason, because I
Yes.
know people are struggling through their own life stories and their own adversities, and they're really needing to connect to other people, especially people like you, Donna, who have been a huge success. Most people know, they don't know your backstory, your upbringing, but most people know that you are one of the largest network marketing organizations in the world, which is amazing, which is how you and I met.
No college degree.
No college degree. And I want you to talk about that too, about why you started with Arbonne and what that looked like at that point.
Well, when you have that kind of an upbringing and someone writes a story about you that you believe or just, that's chapter 1 of my book, Who Do You Think You Are? I just went into acceleration mode, achiever. I was a competitive swimmer and I wasn't necessarily that much better than everyone else, but I worked harder.
Yeah.
And I competed on a national level. So at 18, I went to a party and thought, wow, you can make money at this, because we couldn't afford to go to college, and just dipped my toe in direct sales. And then 10 years later found the company I've been with now for 36 years. And the rest is history. I love our profession because I didn't have to ask a boss if I could be successful. I could just be an entrepreneur.
Right.
I love that.
Yes. And I remember you telling the story over and over, because obviously when I came into the company, you were obviously doing a lot of the leadership training and mentoring. Came to Colorado a couple times.
Yes.
And we really connected there. And I just remember you really saying to me, no regrets, just no regrets.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Everything is a lesson that we go through. We just learn to get better.
Right. And I also remember you telling how, you would have your kids, single mom, and having to go out and do parties and work around all of that.
Sure.
So,
and I think this is important for parents to really teach their kids to learn that money doesn't grow on trees. Don't make excuses and, oh, I'm so sorry, I have to go work. No, I would just say, hey, mom's got to go work. The babysitter's coming. Do the dishes, finish your homework, and I'll be back before bed. And, just them seeing the work ethic inspired them.
Right.
And the other thing that happened, Peter Mork, our beloved founder who passed away several years ago, he said, Donna, in Europe, success skips a generation, and you're going to be tempted to spoil your children. And so he taught me early on not to do that. And my kids paid for half everything they wanted, half their college, everything. And to this day, my 5 adult children are so grateful for that, that they didn't just get handed to them, that they had to work for it too, like I did.
right.
And they also say that one of the best educations they ever got, even though they're highly educated, is watching mom build a business from home.
Right.
Imagine that, watching us deal with people, something they have to do, not just look at their phone, right?
Yeah.
How to manage their disappointments, how to manage their schedule, all those things.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you're doing, moms and dads, God's not the only one watching. Your kids are watching,
Yeah.
so give them a good show.
I remember that too, because obviously I started with Arbonne when I was pregnant with my daughter, and my son was 2. And I just remember working around trying to figure out, okay, so when can I make my phone calls? So I would squeeze it in nap time. And then I would go out 2 nights a week and do my presentations,
Yes.
right? And I had a huge whiteboard in my office, Donna, that had my goals on it and all my presentations for the month and everything. And my kids always knew, especially when I was working towards earning the trips. Because it was all
and it
about
helps
the
them
trips.
set goals too.
Yes. And I made my kids earn the trips with me.
Yep.
They didn't just get to go. So, and it was just stupid stuff I made them do. But
Well, and they're so excited when they get on the trip and they're like telling all their little friends that they earned it too.
right, exactly. So, and I'm grateful for that, because I think they watched me and saw me on the days that I wanted to quit, that I just got up the next day and just kept going. And it was
Yes.
super important for me for them to see that,
Yes.
especially in the world they're living in right now. It's just so
Yeah.
much easier to quit. And I think you and Peter was so smart about this. I do believe that we've got a generation right now that doesn't know how resourceful they can be And that's kind of scary.
It's circling back, though.
Yeah.
I think they're getting it.
Yeah. Well, I've just always, again, been encouraged and inspired by you, by all the leadership that you have brought to me and to other people. And now I know you have kind of ventured out into doing some new things. And I would love for you to talk about that.
Well, I was not writing a book. When you get the book, My Mentor Walks on Water, the introduction tells the story about how the book happened. It was just a moment with our dear friend Rita Davenport, and the book literally dropped in my lap. I mean, all I have to say is I was just being obedient, and to see. I got myself out of the driver's seat, which is really hard to do for a person like me that just go. And I just let God be in the driver's seat. And he said, this is a kingdom assignment for you. And we're going to have net-breaking, boat-sinking results. And the fact that it is launching at Easter, I'm blown away. I was mad at my publisher because it was done in February. And now I'm looking, wow, Easter week, how beautiful, because Easter's more than just chocolate and colored eggs and bunnies. It is a true story. And chapter 3 of my book, Who Do You Think Jesus Is? I think so many people have been just affected by traditional, institutional religion. And just to understand the true relationship with him. It's not an opinion piece. It's actually fact. I mean, you would not believe all the fact checkers and editing went on. And it just brings you in. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I know this was inspired. And I know there's a reason why you are sitting here today on book launch day. And I can feel that spirit, and I know you can too.
Well, everyone's blown away, including Amazon and my publisher, because it's launching today, and it's already #1 Amazon hot new releases in 2 categories. And there's a very big possibility that we can take it across the board and just really turn the tables on the literary world.
This is amazing.
In a world where faith, you're supposed to go in your own little corner and isolate yourself and talk in an echo chamber. It's opening up discussions. Like, I've been on wonderful secular podcasts. One was, he was so nervous. I was like a hot potato. She's got a faith-based book, and not all my listeners are
interesting. Yeah.
And we had so much fun. And just realizing that the divide that we have out in the world, nobody wants that. We've just been told we're not allowed to talk religion and politics.
Right.
Well, what silliness is that? Like, I love talking to people who don't think the same way I do. I love learning. And, like Stephen Covey says, understand before you're understood. So it's opening up a conversation. Yeah. I love it.
Well, and it's something I asked you when we were talking about how this podcast was going to go. And I said, I know we're going to talk a lot about your faith, and that's helped you get through a lot of adversity. But you also said to me that there was a time in your life you really didn't have that as much as you do now.
Right.
And I want you to maybe talk a bit about that. Like, what helped you get through the hard times then?
Well, I grew up Catholic. And by the way, I'm not disrespecting Catholics because I have a lot of beautiful Catholic friends. But I had a traumatic Catholic experience with the nuns and that scary booth with the curtain and all of that. And when I was pregnant with my first child, you really start to think. So I really did walk away from faith and tried to do it on my own, looking out for #1. I can do this. Yeah. Grow the goddess within. And being pregnant made me just really think about life. And some beautiful friends invited me to a Bible study, and we never really were shared the Bible in that faith. And it was more of a catechism. And so I got to read the gospel for the first time and really, knew who Jesus was. And that has really just been by my side my whole life. But I operated in that faith of how to live, but I didn't really talk that much about my faith. And 12 years ago, after my husband Thomas and I met, I married a Swede that I met after speaking in Dubai for his company. Who
I
does
remember
that?
this. I remember all of that when it happened.
And his faith just really helped me. I never thought I'd meet someone from Sweden because it's a very atheist, agnostic country. But he had an encounter with Zig Ziglar backstage one time, many, many years ago, where Zig said to him, Thomas asked him why he was glowing. And Zig said, son, read the book. And Thomas was asking the guys around Zig, what's his book? And they said, the Holy Bible. He goes, what? Like, what's that? And he read it from cover. I talk about this in the book.
Oh, wow.
He read it from cover to cover and then got to the gospel and went, well, that's cool. Jesus died for us. And that is how Thomas came to faith. Is that crazy? But his faith and watching him, even from stage, sharing his faith. One of my favorite quotes is by Billy Graham, your courage strengthens the spine of others. And being married to him and seeing his faith, it gave me more courage to speak my voice. And so he really is my partner in this book because he's the original trainer of Matthew 14. In fact, he says at the end of life, we're going to have action regrets and we're going to have inaction regrets. And 1 stepped out of the boat to walk on water and 11 sat in the boat. And he said, who do you think has more regrets? The ones who sat in the boat. Yeah. And that's what the world wants us to. The timing of this book, fear and confusion is causing people to be boat sitters and just huddle in fear.
Yep.
And so I believe that this book will open up for people to understand that's okay. Take a step of faith.
Right.
Peter fell, but Jesus still picked him up. And then they actually walked back to the boat. Jesus didn't say, hey guys, Peter's a loser. He fell. And so come and come bring the boat over because Peter's a loser. And, and then Jesus didn't carry him on his back. So poor Peter, you're such a loser. You had faith. They walked back to the boat. So when we fall, there's always someone there to pick us up and we can keep walking. It's that walk back that's always harder than the first walk.
This is so true. You are dropping so much wisdom, Donna. And it is a great visual to be reminded of. And it's a great test. I always, whenever I'm in that fear or doubt, I literally have to say to myself, I'm choosing faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear, because you can't have them at the same time. I think you can feel a little anxious. I think it comes with the territory when you're walking out on faith, right?
Yes.
But and I know this because all the leaps that I've taken, like when I used to host a really big event every January called Vision is Victory, and I probably will do it again because I miss doing it. But those few weeks leading up to the event, there was a lot of things go wrong, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights. But I learned to know that it meant that I was about to do something really amazing.
Yes.
And that's what I hope people know, is that when you choose to walk on faith like you are, that it doesn't mean that you are going to feel 3,000% confident in it.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my. And when you're walking through that wilderness, oftentimes it's to prepare you for something really big. And there's a light at the end of that tunnel. It's not a train. And there's always something good.
It's good. Yeah. And I hope that we're sharing this perspective with people right now who they're taking some leaps of faith, or they want to take a leap of faith. There's something they know they're called to do. My whole passion is teaching people that they matter. They have a vision. They have a purpose. I truly believe that we are all sent here with one mission to accomplish. Yeah. Your mission is unique. Mine is unique. But most people die with that still inside. That's the regret I think most people have.
Yeah.
And it's only because they chose the fear over the faith.
Yes.
Right.
And we do hard things, after in chapter 6, you're going to read about an unbelievably incredible dream I had. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to put it in the book. My publisher was just kind of pacing because I kept saying I don't have confirmation from Holy Spirit to put my dream because it's very personal. And it did fit in chapter 6. And then after that dream, everything changed in my life, my inner circle, my goals, what I would say yes and no to. I started a Bible study that I thought, who am I doing that? But it's been so fun. It's a virtual Wednesday morning, and it's just growing like crazy. But the first one we did was called I Do Hard Things. And we discovered that in that study, we all do hard things. And we can all rate our hard things, 1 to 10, whatever. But we all do hard things, but we have the ability to get through that season. And it's actually based on the story of Joseph in Genesis. His brothers were so jealous of him that they threw him into slavery, and everything that he did, he landed on his feet, right? And he just kept his eyes up, kept faithful, to the point when the famine was coming and he's the king and the brothers are coming, they see his brother alive, right? I mean, so we do hard things. And when you do hard things, there's always something on the other side for you.
Right. And it's so important because you said this a minute ago that your inner circle changed.
Yes.
And I totally get that. And I talk a lot about that when I talk about when you go after your own vision, to be super aware of who you are surrounding yourself with.
Yes.
Because it's everything. And unfortunately, a lot of times, Donna, I don't know if you've been here, where you are about ready to make that leap and you take a look around at what I call the front row, the people that you're spending the most amount of your time with, and you're going, I'm not thinking they're going to make it with me on this next step. And it's hard to make those changes. But right after that is somebody who shows up that says, hey, I'm here to help you get to the next step.
The growing, wow. If, you need to continue to grow. I think that is just key. And taking inventory of the people around you. And it's not like you go up to someone and say, hey, you're not in my inner circle anymore.
And I meant to say, it's not a dramatic thing that we have to do here. It just kind of organically needs to,
it does.
Yeah. Right. But the people like you that have always been, like I said, when we started talking, such a big encourager, are always still there. And I think it's because you and I and the people that we surround ourselves with, like Rita, you've mentioned many times, Sharon Davenport.
Sharon Lecter.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. They're always there.
Yes. We are here to support and love and encourage each other. I see so many people who feel insecure. They compare themselves. And so they have to, say things that aren't appropriate. And it's just, that's just not necessary. That's gossip. And in fact, my circle of friends, be careful, because when you ask for a circle of friends for discipleship and accountability.
Yes.
I remember one time a dear friend, I was talking about something, and she said, well, actually, Donna, that's gossip, and that's really not for us to be discussing right now. Like, busted. But that's the kind of friends I have.
Yeah. Well, and I have those kinds of friends too.
Yeah.
Rita Davenport has been that person for me
man.
many, many times. And she would say this.
She'll take you to the woodshed.
Yep. I was just going to say, she would say this if she were here, that she has taken me. But here's the thing. I love and respect that woman so much because of that.
Yes.
Right? Because if they don't do that, it means they really don't care.
She's one of the best edifiers, applauders. Be the applause of the people in your life, right? Yeah. And it makes them feel special.
So amazing.
Too.
Well, I would love for you to keep talking a little bit more about the book, but also kind of give me some idea of where you see it going from here. Now that you've created a movement, right? Do you see that?
It just launched today. It's called the Water Walker movement, and we've got some merchandise at mentordonnajohnson.com. We have a fabulous orphanage in Uganda where we've planted a permaculture garden. My son is one of the leading permaculturists in the world, and we were able to plant that before the pandemic, which meant that our orphanage community actually served more than the orphanage, but the community around them. And because Thomas was a professional soccer player in Sweden, through those connections, we've been able to do a soccer academy for the kids. And so our proceeds from the book and merchandise, Water Walker merchandise, goes to that. So check out at mentordonnajohnson.com. And I just see, for me, it's an obedience piece. So I'm just getting myself out of the way on this. This isn't my book. This is, he's in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat.
Yes.
And he's amazing. My job is to be amazed. And I'm just being obedient. But I'm shocked when he said net breaking, boat sinking results. That's what's happening. And it just means that this is what the world is hungry for right now. They're sick of the lies. They're sick of darkness. They're sick of, the division, and they just want light. People are looking up. Yeah. And I love that. So if it causes conversations again, if it causes people to reconnect with real faith, then this will be a success.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch all that's unfolding. I want to be in your Bible study. I want to just order a ton of books today.
Yes. So fun.
Just want to be a huge part of your mission.
It's a great Easter gift too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably past Easter now as people are listening. But it's a great gift for every day.
Yeah. Every day. Anything else you want to share to anybody out there who's walking through adversity right now?
Just don't give up hope. What good are low hopes? And there's always someone there to pick you up when you fall.
Yeah.
And don't ever compare yourself to other people or maybe what you've done in the past. When Jesus hung on the cross and one of the thieves to his side recognized that he really was the Son of God, the Messiah that was promised in the Old Testament, and he shared that with Jesus on the cross. What did Jesus say? He didn't say, "Oh, you sinner." He said, "Today you'll see paradise with me."
Yeah.
And I just love that. God is such love, and I just want people to know that love.
Yeah. Well, you are an embodiment of that, my friend, and thank you so much for taking the time out of this amazing day to be here with me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, Carey. Love you so much.
Oh, thank you too. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is Carey Conley, the host of this podcast, Moving Through and Beyond, and I'm here to keep reminding you to keep looking up. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, please share it with a friend or a family member. In order to be successful on this mission, I can't do it alone. Connect with me at www.careyconley.com, and don't forget to sign up for my weekly Do It On Purpose newsletter. Let's build this life-giving vision movement together to end this epidemic, save lives, and create purpose.